right, and we're live. Cuzzo, hit him with that intro.
Welcome back to the Electives Podcast. This is season 2, episode 2, and let's jump right into it, man.
Yeah, man. So, we were talking before the podcast turned on, as we normally do.
Yeah.
Talking about dealing with change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to tackle dealing with change in 2024. I think it's going to be a big change for a lot of us, not just in like personally, but I think in the world as a whole.
For sure.
2023 was like, dang, what's happening? And I think 2024 is like, what's going to happen? So
yeah,
let's talk a little bit about dealing with change, man, and how to deal with it. What advice or what ways do you go about dealing with change?
Well, I think change is inevitable, right? And it's something that we all experience. But just, I think the biggest takeaway that I've learned up until this point is just trying to. There's a saying like if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Right.
So just being ready for it, because you know it's coming. You know it's coming. You just don't know what or when it's going to happen. But
right.
You know it's coming. So just thinking about the possibilities, looking forward a little bit in the future, not too far, not so far to where you're not in the present, but just looking a little bit ahead at what different roadblocks there may be, speed bumps you might hit.
Right.
I think, at the age range that we're at, there's a lot of people that there's a lot happening. Some people are getting married. They're having kids. They're making a career change. Maybe they're starting their own business. So there's usually a lot of moving pieces around this age.
Yeah. So how do you stay ready? What is a way or ways that you think you stay ready yourself, and then how can people stay ready? Our audience stay ready.
One of the ways that I try to stay ready is just keeping a clear mind. Staying in a good mental space.
Yeah.
Whether that be using exercise, meditating, reading, anything along that line. Yeah. Kind of keep yourself a little level-headed. Because sometimes, man, 2 or 3 things could go wrong in a week. And then you're just like, man, what am I going to do? But if you're as mentally stable as you can be in those moments, kind of be more even-keeled, you can kind of adapt quicker and come up with a solution to the problem faster.
Right. No, yeah, I agree with that, man. I think change is good, man. I've learned to embrace the change, and the way I stay ready myself is just kind of every day doing a little bit. Like even if it's 10 minutes, just trying to prepare. Like, all right, if this happened, how can I go make more money? Or if this happened, do I have another skill that I've learned?
Right.
And that's what we kind of talked about in our first year is, developing skills, reading,
yep.
All this stuff. I mean, I know it seems like a lot,
right.
It does, like when we look at our schedules,
right.
For the podcast and life and family,
yeah.
You're like, man, well, how do I fit this in?
Yeah.
And, trust me, I'm the same way every week. Every week I look at my phone and I'm like, man, I'm busy. Or like, or where am I going to fit this in? And I think that challenge right there for change, because, we didn't know what it was going to be when we first started.
No.
We were just like, all right, let's change it up, and see what this
can become.
And the other thing with change is it doesn't only affect you, it affects the people around you.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with it myself with, my family at home, and, you're dealing with that at home too. Cause it is a change for people. We're gone for, a couple hours every Monday.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, well, it's Monday, it's your day off. Yeah, it is, but
not really.
Not really, because, this is something that's important.
Yes.
And I think when people make that change, you just got to have that in mind. Like, if you're going to make that change, it's because it's important.
True. Very true. Yeah, and sacrifices have to be made.
Right.
In order to get to where you truly want to be. I think that's something that we both have realized about this podcast is in order to, for our first year to get 40 episodes, man, that's a lot of hours shooting. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of guests. And by no means did it not come with a sacrifice. We both have significant others that love us, that care about us, that want to spend quality time with us. And sometimes, hey, they maybe they want you to take a Monday off, or a week off. But in those moments, sometimes it's like, hey, I hear you. I love you. I care about you, but you know, we've got this guest coming on. We have to do it. We have to shoot it, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah, everything kind of comes with a little bit of sacrifice, but, excuse me, it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I think that's going to be our theme for 2024 is just finding ways to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, man.
Just doing uncomfortable things, you know, and you know, it's just like, you know, when it comes to change, I was sitting at having one of those moments in the kitchen where I was just like, I was like, man, you know, like this is year 2. Is it, you know, you always think about like, all right, what are we doing this for? Well, how's it going to play out? And, you know, how important is it? You know, it's like, you get all these questions, you know, and I'm just like, well, I mean, I guess that's the whole point of it.
Exactly.
You know, like to go through it because you never know what it'll be.
Right.
You know, and you know, everything's important. Your family's important. You know, like we talk about, it's just, man, it's just like you think about, you get those moments when you have to sacrifice certain things sometimes. And then you're just like, dang, well, this is part of the process.
Yeah.
But so for 2024, that's our challenge for you guys. You know, find something to make you uncomfortable, whatever it may be, whether it's mentally, you know, maybe reading more, spiritually.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, downloading a Bible app. I did that.
Right. Oh,
get
nice.
a verse a day. You know, I did that last year. I was like, I'm going to try to do a verse a day, you know, and then, you know, physically, obviously getting in the gym as much as you can. We always preach on that.
Yep.
And then financially, which is kind of like our, you know, staying hungry is our next topic. And I think if you learn how to challenge yourself financially, you can develop that skill of staying hungry, that hustle, you know, so
for sure.
You touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, man. Cause I think that, you know, there also too, man, at the age that we're at, man, career wise, most people in their career are starting to they're on the ascent, you know, when it comes to how much money they can make. Right. And, naturally, you know, to the point of us bringing this up of staying hungry, you want to get to a place where, yes, you're comfortable. Right. But you also want to get to a place where you continue to push yourself. You know, you don't really want to hit any plateaus, you know, especially you don't want to leave anything in the tank. You always usually have a little more in your tank than what you thought you did. But career-wise, even, I would challenge the people that are listening. If there was ever a moment where you wanted to take a risk, you know, to try and do something else, to try and push yourself, to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable, now is the year to do it. I personally think. I think 2024 is a year where you should really, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. You know, don't be afraid to start that side business. Don't be afraid to start that side hustle. You know, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's okay. Just keep getting up every single day and going after it. Right. Like, just be relentless when it comes to that. And it will pay off. I think that some of the sacrifices that are made early on for us, for the podcast, ended up paying off, I mean, months later.
Right.
You know? So it's just, man, staying level-headed through that process, you know? And yeah, man, but that would be my advice is just take a risk this year. Don't be afraid to take a risk. And I think from a financial aspect, it may not come right away, right, the money that you're looking for, but on the back end, it definitely will. It definitely will.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I think you know, the way I would say for somebody to challenge themselves is to start taking some things away. You know, like,
true.
If you can't really find anything to challenge yourself, I guarantee you, if you start taking some things away financially, just to be like, man, I don't have that no more, or whatever the case may be, it is gonna hurt in the beginning. Yeah. But you're gonna see, like, all right, I got this much money saved. Or the other way, this is a flip side. This is kind of the crazier side. Mm. You go and buy something that is going to challenge you every month to go pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, now some people say you're living behind your means. Yeah. Which, yes, you are. But at the same time, it's creating like this urgency because now you have to pay for it.
Right. And I think that is like based off of how you're wired, right? Some people are wired like to that point where, they when they need their back against the wall.
Right.
You know,
right.
And then they go out and they find a way to get it. And then others would rather, you know, have the money saved and be able to pay for it 3 times over, and then they purchase it.
Right.
So it just depends on what kind of person you are.
Correct.
You know, find out what kind of person you are.
Yep.
And then hustle that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think this year I think it would be a great year for everybody to start doing a little bit of that.
Yes,
and whichever way you want to go, but yeah, definitely challenge yourself in those 4 areas this year. Pick something up. Even if it's like I said, even if it's an audiobook, if you're listening 10 minutes a day, that's also challenging because you like listening to music in the car.
Right.
You know,
right.
You don't want to listen to somebody talking to you. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to listen to us talk to you, but
there you go.
But yeah, I think that's going to be the key this year is to challenge yourself. Because to touch on last year, what is something, obviously this podcast was a challenge for us. That was probably our main challenge together.
Yep.
But what was something personally that you challenged yourself with, whether you realized it or not at the time, but you realize it now?
That's a great question, man. I'll say just for myself, because this is the first thing that came to mind, is like proposing. You know, that was really big for me, man.
Yeah,
that was really big. I've always been a guy who was like, I don't know if marriage is for me, man. Right. I don't know, man. If I'm being honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of reflecting last year, and I thought about the man that I want to become, right? And I thought about the conversations that I want to have with my future children. Right. The conversations that I want to have with my future wife, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I felt like I grew a lot mentally when it came to that space, you know. I think, you know, men like yourself, other men that I know, other mentors that I have, being the head of a household or being a good husband and a good father, that's not easy to do.
Right.
You know? So for me for the first time in my life to really, really seriously say, okay, man, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I'm not going back like I'm burning the boats. Like we're going to take this island.
Yeah.
That was a big change for me. That was a big change mentally.
Oh yeah. That's definitely a big change, man. Cause you're bringing somebody else into your life and you're going into theirs and you're going to try to find a way to mix it up.
Yeah.
You know, that's thought processes, philosophies.
Yeah. All that.
Yeah. I mean, all that's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the biggest challenge with that is that people don't, like J. Cole touched on it, but people don't realize like after a couple years, you know, that shit don't feel the same.
Yeah, relationship. Yeah, man.
You know, and marriage isn't a fairy tale story.
No, sir.
You know, it's work.
Yep.
You know, so I think you'll learn, as we all have learned, you know, everybody who's married or in a relationship, even a long-term relationship. I mean, that's damn near a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
You guys live together. You guys just ain't saying, yeah, that's my husband. But even that's a challenge, man. I mean, because, you know, there's challenges with that. And I think you'll be fine. I think you'll tackle it. But that is a huge challenge, man, that you took.
Man. Yeah, because I don't think enough men talk about it. At least. So now some of them are just wired that way, where they're just like, "Hey, man, this is what I'm going to do," and they just go do it. You know, and I respect that. You know, but someone like myself, man, it's just a lot of thinking about it. You know, I didn't really know if marriage was something I really wanted to be a part of. You know, but now knowing what I know and having a better perspective on life, it's like, nah, that's the right thing to do. You know, wanting to provide structure for your family, wanting to try and give that to your children. Right. That's a good thing. That's a positive.
Right.
But what about you, man? What did you do last year, man, that really kind of challenged you and pushed you outside of your comfort zone?
Yeah. So my biggest challenge was something I didn't really realize until afterwards was, you know, I wanted to challenge my daughter this year to step out of her box, which is, you know, the local area and play basketball somewhere else. Like go out of state. Let's go out of state. Let's see what the other girls look like, you know, and that me challenging her ended up being a challenge for me because now I had to walk into a gym that I'm not familiar with. You know, I don't know any parents. I don't know how the players are going to be. And I think my biggest challenge going in there was like, okay, I know my daughter can play. I know she can hoop, right? But as a parent, you're always like, man, how's the rest of the competition going to
Yeah,
be? Like,
yeah.
is this going to be good or is this going to be bad? Like, how do I deal with it? So I think putting myself in that, uncomfortable space, because I was like, man, like, all right, is she going to perform like she does back home? Or, are people going to be, hang on, what's it?
Oh, good. We don't want the lights to cut off in the place. We're good.
But yeah, that was a big challenge for me, man. And we got through it, and I think it made her better in the end, and it also made me better as like a parent watching.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go crazy. I wasn't like one of the parents like I was going crazy. I like really observed her game and watched how she played, and then just enjoyed like being out there. Like whether it was like she didn't do as well or she didn't take over like she does back home. It was like, let's just go out there and then come home with whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, and it worked out, and now it's like, we'll go back out there. We'll go back out somewhere else this year. And now we're okay. Now we're good.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as nerve wracking.
Yeah.
But,
no, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. That's awesome. I think too, man, I hear a lot of parents allude to the fact that sometimes you're the parent, obviously, yes, right? So most of the time you're teaching your child something. But every now and then things happen where your kid ends up teaching you. And in that moment of you guys both being uncomfortable, you kind of had a teachable moment for yourself as a parent to kind of just step back and be like, hey, wait a minute. This is a little different, Let me just let it be. Yeah. I can't control this environment because it's not an environment that I'm familiar with.
Right.
I just have to just see how she reacts and how she responds.
Right.
And I'm sure whether you were conscious of it or not, she was paying attention to your body language and how you were, you know what I mean? Like, she's almost looking at you like, hey, coach, like hey, dad.
Or like, how am I doing?
How am I doing and all that, and,
Yeah, and then it was cool because, like, when you embrace change or you embrace being uncomfortable, you learn a new skill, right? And for her being 12, the first thing she told me at the first camp we went to, she's like, Dad, these girls play like they have nothing else. Like they have nothing else.
Wild pit bulls.
Like she's like I've never played against girls like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, that's
hungry.
That's hungry. Like
that's what hungry looks
they
like.
want to win. Like she's always had that. Yeah. But I think she saw somebody take it to another level. And I was like, well, now you got to take that home with you.
Yeah.
They gave that to you. Now you got to take it home.
That's a gift. Like that's a gift.
That's a gift, man. Like and you never know what you're gonna get when you go in these, different environments and you challenge yourself. You're gonna get something you don't really know.
True.
True. And I think that was a big takeaway for her and for me because I was like, I've seen my daughter do it.
Right.
I've seen other players do it.
Right.
But
being in a gym full of
like girls like that, I was like, man, like there's some girls out here, some girl hoopers that can really go after it and are really playing.
Yeah.
Like if today was the last game, they played like it was the last game. Yeah, they were going after it. So
that's awesome.
It was a something nice to see.
Dope, man. And that ties into this episode, right? Staying hungry.
Yeah.
Staying hungry at the end of the day. Because it doesn't matter whether it's sports, it doesn't matter whether it's business, it doesn't matter whether it's life. Everything's competition.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yep.
And you got to stay in that space where you're constantly competing and showing up every single day.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, no, awesome, I agree with that, man. Yeah. So with that, guys, we gonna it was a shorter episode. We just wanted to touch a little bit on it because this is what's kind of going on right now. In the month of January, outside of all this other coldness that we're dealing with. But yeah, man, to really really challenge yourself this year. Message us. I think I would like to see that too. Like,
yeah, we'd like to see more engagement from our viewers and our listeners. It's not that we're not getting engagement now because we are, but we definitely would like to hear more of what you guys have to say, more of what you guys would like us to talk about. Because we have guests that we're going to bring on, some pretty big guests coming on the podcast this year. But it does help, man, when our viewers and our listeners kind of let us know what you guys would like to hear.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that.
So with that, hit them with that outro, cuzzo.
As always, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Peace.